So we have the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of State Police in Norfolk District Attorney's Office. March 9th, 2021 is when this report was written. And it is to Detective Lieutenant Gerard Matliano from Sergeant John Fanning. And this is the interview of Matthew Farwell. So this is the first time I believe we're hearing from John Fanning in these police reports. So let's see what John Fanning has to say. Now, John Fanning has been referred to in the Karen Reed case as well. He was the commander of the first trial, possibly had run-ins with jurors or got information from a juror or from someone about a juror and then reported it to the court himself, but he was also a potential witness, I believe. So this is a big hoopla. So if you have heard the name Fanning, yes, it is the same Fanning. It says, on February 6, 2021, at approximately 3:10 p.m., Trooper Matt Dunn, who is the main person we have been looking at the police reports of, and I interviewed Matt Farwell at Gibbons School, Stoughton, in a parking lot out front. I wonder if they recorded this or if it was just a little chit-chat. And we'll just put some things in there to note. We'll see how true and accurate these statements are that John Fanning wrote. On February 4, 2021, Trooper Dunn responded to Canton for an unaliving death of Sandra Birchmore. Trooper Dunn was advised by multiple sources that the victim, Sandra, was possibly pregnant, and she said the father of the baby is Detective Matt Farwell from Stoughton Police Department. This interview was conducted in furtherance of this investigation. Matt said that he heard Sandra passed away on Friday. Matt said that he has known Sandra for about 10 years, going back to when Sandra was a police explorer in Stoughton and Matt was an instructor. The Police Explorer program is a junior academy program for high school-aged kids, exposing them to the different facets of law enforcement. Well, it's not just high school-aged kids because 13 is not high school age. So maybe junior or middle school and high school age kids. Maybe just put teens. I don't know. Matt said that Sandra had a troubled life and he had felt bad for her. He would keep tabs on her over the years. Matt said that Sandra continued to have problems over the years that he has known her. She had a troubled life and he felt bad for her. Is that why you essayed her? Is that why you groomed her? Is because her troubled life or her hard life was so bad that you would just make her feel better by doing things with a minor? You're a disgusting pig. I mean that in all senses. And then it's redacted. Felt bad for her. Give me a break. Matt said that sometime in early 2020, he began a sexual relationship with Sandra. Okay, sure, buddy. He said that he was intoxicated one night and ended up meeting up with her and having sex. Oh, so it's just when you're intoxicated. Like, why do you even have a relationship with this person? It shouldn't have. No. Matt said that he maybe had sex with her 2 to 3 times since last year. He said the last time they had sex was the end of October 2020. Matt said that sometime in December 2020, Sandra told him that she was pregnant and he was the father. Matt said that he was confident the last time he had sex with her and that the timeline didn't add up based on her expected due date in September. Matt was adamant that he is not the father of the unborn child that Sandra was carrying at the time of her death, which I don't want to necessarily agree with this vile human. And I'm glad I kept reading because that was kind of my thoughts. Unless she said she was just on dates. If they, in fact, the last time they did have sex was in October, she would have to be 6 to 8 weeks pregnant at the time, depending on when they did it in October. So she's saying she's due in September. I mean, we don't know when in September, but no, if she's due in September, they would have had to have had sex in December. So based on dates, I do agree that he wouldn't be able to be the father with a September due date. If they, in fact, if that is the one thing he is telling the truth on about the last time that they had sex was October 2020. I don't remember if that is true or not. So, but I can see why, DNA test, that's why they do it. And it is rumored now that he actually isn't the father. So he was right about the timeline. Um, but he's not exactly a trustworthy guy. So it's really hard to take his word. In the end, it doesn't matter if he was the father or not. He wanted to get rid of her. Continuing on, Matt said that on the evening of Monday, February 1st, 2021, he went to Sandra's apartment in Canton. He said that he had asked her if he could come by, and she said no problem. Matt said that he intended on breaking everything off with Sandra. Matt said that he told Sandra that she was crazy and it was not his child, which he might have said those things. He said that Sandra told him that he was a dick. Matt said that he was straightforward in his conversation with her and told her that it was all over and he was blocking her from all forms of communication. Matt said it was a pretty nasty argument, but they weren't too loud. Yeah, because he wants to make sure that if all the neighbors say they didn't hear anything, that's why. Because they were quiet about it. We'll see if neighbors agree with that. Matt said he kept telling Sandra that there is no way that he is the father based on her timeline. Matt said that he kept calm and was trying not to incite a fight. Matt said that Sandra was upset, but she did not make any unaliving statements at all. Matt said that he had left Sandra's building, or when he left, Sandra was standing in the kitchen when he walked out. Matt said that he arrived around 9:10, left around 9:30. Matt is observed by video surveillance entering and leaving Sandra's building at the approximate time was 28 minutes. Matt said that when he left, he blocked Sandra on all communication platforms. Well, yeah. Did you block her or did you unfollow her? Because there's a difference. Well, that is an unfollow too, because you don't follow, you block. Is it because he didn't want communication, or is it because he wants to act like he's never been friends with her before on social media? So that social media wise, if you just look at it and you don't dig in too deep, it doesn't show that they are friends. Let's continue. Okay. Matt said that the last time he had seen Sandra prior to Monday, February 1st was approximately a week before. He said that he had been trying to distance himself from her. Matt said that Sandra was having sex with other people during the entire time they were together. Well, you weren't exclusive with her, sir, so she has the right to. You do not, because you're married. And you shouldn't have been having a relationship with this girl, whether you were married or not. Matt said, Matt did not know that Sandra was telling other people that he was the father of her unborn child. Matt said that he has been to her Canton apartment 5 or 6 times, and he helped her move in. How chivalrous of you. Who said chivalry was dead? Matt said that he had never had sex with her in the Canton apartment. Matt said that prior to the Canton apartment, Sandra was living at her grandmother's house on Holbrook Avenue in Stoughton. And then there's redactions. All right. And then we're moving to March 11th. We're back to Trooper Matt Dunn sending this over to Lieutenant Modigliano. The action was done on the 9th, and the report was written about a month later on March 11th. So February 9th, 2021, I, Trooper Matt Dunn, conducted a phone interview of redacted, had called Norfolk District Attorney's Office and stated she had information of the death of Birchmore. She described herself as being a friend of Birchmore when they were younger. She stated that they had recently reconnected. Blank stated that she moved across the street from Birchmore's house when she was about 4 years old and had known Birchmore on and off for about 17 years. Stated she and Birchmore were very close between the ages of 4 and 12. She stated that until about a month ago, she had not spoken with Birchmore in approximately 2 years. According to Blank, Birchmore reached out to her about a month ago out of the blue. Blank stated that she was actually kind of surprised to hear from Birchmore. She stated that when they last spoke, they had left things not necessarily on bad terms, but not great terms. So this person and Sandra seemed to have had a falling out. And then all of a sudden, a month before she dies, she reached out to this friend. And we'll see if it is because she is telling everybody she knows, shouting it from the rooftops, that she is pregnant. Blank said that when Birchmore reached out to her, she tried to add Blank back on Snapchat and asked her for her phone number. Then they spoke via FaceTime for approximately 2 hours. During that conversation, Birchmore told Blank that she was pregnant, but she was not sure who the father was. Okay, so here, Birchmore says she doesn't know who the father is. She told Blank that she was sleeping with twin brothers. And the thing is with the DNA test, even though they're twins, they're not identical twins. I don't think. Because they don't look the exact same. So I think they're fraternal friends or twins. So just because he's a twin and it came back as rumors stated that it wasn't Matthew Farwell's kid, because they're not identical twins, it does not rule out the possibility that it could be William or Billy Farwell's child. If they were identical twins, that DNA test ruling out Matthew Farwell would have also ruled out his brother. But since they're not identical, it still leaves the possibility that William Farwell could still be the dad, as far as the public knows. People know who it is, but the public does not know. And if we do, send me that information, please. Um, Blank stated that Birchmore told her that one or both of the twins were cops. Blank stated that Birchmore never actually said the name of either party. Yeah, she hasn't really given the name. She's been very hush hush about the name. She just drops breadcrumbs so you can figure it out for yourself, basically. Birchmore told Blank that she wasn't sure what to do and asked her friend for advice since she already has a child of her own. When asked to elaborate on what Birchmore told her regarding the pregnancy, Blank stated that Birchmore did not know who the father was due to the time frame thing, in which she was sexually active with more than one individual around the time she became pregnant. Now, ladies, this is why you should not just sleep around. If you do, okay, but use protection, please. Birth control, make sure they use protection if you do not want to end up pregnant. Because this is not a scenario that you want. You do not want to be confused about who the father is if you end up pregnant. You do not want a Maury Povich scenario on your hands. So put some space between these people. Make these guys earn what you're giving them. That is just a mama's advice. All right. Blank stated Birchmore later told her that she knew who the father was and stated he was a cop. Birchmore told Blank that he made a lot of money. Blank stated that it was an awkward situation because the father of the baby was married and Birchmore did not know what to do. Well, there it sounds like she's describing Matthew Farwell. I don't know if William Farwell is married. And let's continue on. Birchmore told Blank that she had told the father of the baby how much money he would have to pay her per month once the baby was born. According to Blank, Birchmore told her that she would be demanding $4,000 per month from the baby's father, plus an additional $3,000 for daycare. That's not a reality. I mean, he had to be making some damn good money for you to get $4, $5, $6, $7,000 a month on a cop's salary. Even up there, I mean, Canton makes good money, but not still. If Stoughton is paying their officers like Canton pays their officers, you're not getting $4, or $7,000 a month for your child. Maybe if you blackmailed him, but if it was in the courts, no, you're only getting about 20% of what they make for one child. At least that's what it is where I live. Blank stated that Birchmore had already picked out a specific daycare center, the Creative World Children's Learning Center in southeastern Massachusetts. Blank noted that it was not even a month into her pregnancy when Birchmore told her all this. So somebody who's already picked out a daycare, yeah, doesn't sound like they plan on ending their life anytime soon. Number 6, Blank stated that Birchmore had told her that the baby's father was in denial, saying that it was not his child. Birchmore told her that he did not seem happy about the pregnancy. Blank further stated that Birchmore seemed set on having the baby if he was not going to be involved and stated she did not need help. Blank stated Birchmore seemed completely okay with that. Yeah, because Birchmore wanted this baby. Because that was a part of the whole, plan, is that Farwell give Birchmore a baby. Farwell wasn't exactly on board with that, but, he didn't stop having sex with her to avoid it. Because the scenario could have very much been he was the father. It's only just been recently that we found out he's not, if that is from a credible source. There's some redaction. When asked if Birchmore had told her this directly, Blank stated that she had. Blank stated she was aware that sometimes Birchmore would make up stories, however, she believed the information at the time, and it sounded real. Blank then went on to state that she was aware there were various rumors going around Stoughton regarding Birchmore's death, such as the death was unaliving, that a cop was involved, and that the death was suspicious with blood all over the walls of her apartment. Well, we know there was not blood all over the walls of the apartment. Um, unless that comes out in the federal case. And if that comes out that there was blood everywhere, Canton PD is going to have so much explaining to do because none of that was stated in reports. I don't think with strangulation there shouldn't be. But so I don't think that's actually true. But they would have a lot of explaining to do if that was the case, because there was none of that's mentioned. Report on March 11th, 2021. We're back to Sergeant John Fanning. The subject is Matthew Farwell's iPhone 11 consent for phone data. On February 9th, 2021, at approximately 12 p.m., I met with Matthew Farwell at the Norfolk District Attorney's Office in Canton. I asked for Matthew's consent to retrieve the data off his phone relative to the investigation into the death of Sandra Birchmore. Matthew read and signed the consent form. I took his phone into possession and had Trooper Nick Garino extract the data. I then gave the phone back to Matthew. I have the attached signed consent form. So they took his phone and downloaded it, extracted it. It was going to go into like a Celebrate report. So here it is. I, Matthew Farwell, have been informed by Sergeant John Fanning of the Massachusetts State Police that I have the right to refuse to allow a search of my computer or storage media without a search warrant. I understand this right, and I hereby waive the necessity of a search warrant and do authorize law enforcement to search my computer and or storage media and or computer and or media of my minor child, something described as, and they just took his iPhone 11. So they didn't take anything else at this point. And he voluntarily gave it over. So props to him for that. They would have probably, I don't know that they would have asked for a search warrant. They might have. They might have gotten a search warrant on it for the investigation. But if he would have said no, I don't know if they would have gone and gotten a search warrant for it. But as a police officer, I would think you would know that if you deleted things off of your phone, which they may not be on his phone, but information on your phone, deleted stuff can be recovered. So if you deleted things, it can be recovered. So why are you voluntarily handing over your phone when it's going to out you as a PDF file? As we talk in code here. Props for handing it over, though, voluntarily. It had a device passcode. It did not have a swipe pattern, but I like that they have the I like that they have the parts on there so you can put it on there. Let's see. I understand that said items may be searched or examined to include creating a forensic image and or copy of all data contained within said items without obtaining a search warrant, and I do authorize the Massachusetts State Police to take possession of any material that is connected in any way with the investigation they are conducting or with any further investigation. And then he initialed MF. I can think of another stands for Matthew Farwell, but I could also stand for motherfucker. Blank, or what does it say? Related to the death of Sandra Birchmore. And then it says unaliving. He also initialed that says, I understand it has been explained to me that any of the materials taken will/may be examined at a state police facility, and the results of the examination may be given to officials associated with the current or future criminal investigation and to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. And then, having been informed and having understood the above information, I am signing this consent form voluntarily without fear, threat, coercion, or any promises of any kind. I understand that and acknowledge that I have an absolute right to refuse to give my consent and hereby voluntarily waive this right. And he signed it on February 9th, 2021 at 12:05 p.m. So there is his consent form for them to look through his phone. So we gave it to him, but we know that Nick Garino missed over 30,000 texts when he did this. I don't know if there were some pages missing or how he missed it, but it came out in the Fed documents that when they're like, oh, nothing to see here, there was over 30,000 things to see there that they just missed over at the Canton PD, Mass State Police. All right. March 9th, we're back. For Sergeant Matthew Fanning is who this is from. On February 11th, 2021, at approximately 4:05 p.m., Trooper Matt Dunn and I interviewed William Billy Farwell in the parking lot at Cobb's Corner in Stoughton. So another just meet up in a parking lot. Was this recorded? Or is it just a little chit chat? Hey, give me your story so we can say that we talked to you, dude. Okay. On February 4th, 2021, Trooper Dunn responded to Canton for an unaliving death of Sandra Birchmore. Trooper Dunn was advised by multiple sources that the victim, Sandra, was possibly pregnant, and that she said the father of the baby was Detective Matt Farwell from Stoughton Police Department. Trooper Dunn was also advised from multiple sources that the victim was having sex with Matt's brother, Billy Farwell. This interview was conducted in furtherance of this investigation. Billy said that he had heard Sandra passed away on Friday. Billy said that he first met Sandra about 10 years ago when Sandra was in the Police Explorers program in Stoughton and Billy was a guest instructor. The Police Explorers program is a junior academy program for high school-aged kids, expressing them to the different facets of law enforcement. Billy said that he had not seen Sandra in a very long time, probably since the Explorers program. Billy became a Stoughton police officer in 2017. In 2018, Billy saw Sandra while he was working a paid detail in Stoughton. Billy said that Sandra remembered him, but he didn't really remember her that well. Really? You had sex with a minor and you don't remember her? You're a liar. You're another disgusting pig, just like your brother. You might not be a murderer, but you're still disgusting and deserve to be locked up. Billy said that Sandra wanted to go into the Army and asked if he had any contacts. Billy, who still serves in the military, helped her get in contact with recruiters to get into the Army. Aren't you just helpful? Billy said that Sandra started constantly contacting him, which I'm not saying I doubt that part. She sounds like she did blow up these guys' phones. But, there were things that they could have done about it. One, not sleep with her when she was a child and mess with her brain, where she grows an attachment to the people that made her a victim, where it's like she has Stockholm syndrome. Billy said that the last time he was in contact with Sandra was about 2 weeks ago via email. Sandra told Billy that she has been accepted into nursing school. Don't know if that's actually true or not. Billy said that he had a sexual relationship with Sandra going back about 2 years. Billy said that in 2020 he had been with her sexually maybe 2 to 3 times. Interesting. That's what your brother said too. 2020, 2 to 3 times. Then there's some redactions. Billy said that the last time they were together was sometime in December. Ding, 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 ding. We might know. He slept with her in December. So Matthew said he last slept with her in October. Let's see. So she was already pregnant in December. I mean, it could be his. I don't know. Maybe Billy Farwell is the father of the baby. Sandra told Billy that she was pregnant and that the father was his brother, Matt. Billy said he knew that he didn't get her pregnant. Yeah, you might be eating those words, but we'll see when it all comes to light. And then, respectfully submitted by John Fanning. Okay, we're back to Matt Dunn on March 11th. On February 12th, 2021, I-Trooper Matt Dunn conducted a phone interview of blank, had called the Norfolk District Attorney's Office and stated she had information regarding the death of Birchmore, described herself as a formerly close friend of Birchmore through volleyball. Blank stated that she and Birchmore had not spoken for some time and they had last communicated about a year ago. Okay. However, Birchmore had unexpectedly reached out to her via text message recently. All right. According to Blank, Birchmore was saying she was trying to get pregnant. Birchmore told Blank that she had a donor and that he was a Stoughton police officer. Beyond that, Blank stated that Birchmore did not really share much personal information. Blank stated that she had heard from their volleyball coach that Birchmore had become pregnant. When questioned, Blank stated Birchmore never mentioned the name of the baby's father and had no further information to report. Okay. So she did not call this person to tell her she was pregnant. She called her to talk to her about how to get pregnant with a donor. Interesting. It was a willing donor, not from a fertility bank. It was going to be done the old-fashioned way. Natural intercourse. All right. Still Trooper Matt Dunn, March 11th, 2021. On February 12th, 2021, Trooper Matt Dunn conducted a phone interview of Blank. Blank had called the Norfolk District Attorney's Office and stated she had information regarding the death of Birchmore, described herself as being a friend of Birchmore who communicated with her often. Blank stated that she has known Birchmore since elementary school. She stated that over time she and Birchmore fell out of touch, but reconnected towards the end of high school, around the time they were age 17 or 18. Blank stated that she and Birchmore attended volleyball open court sessions in Stoughton around that time. They continued to see each other over the time when playing volleyball. Blank stated that she and Birchmore were never super close, but had started to communicate via social media, primarily Snapchat, after the pandemic started. Blank described their communication as typically sending pictures through social media. Blank stated that she and Birchmore normally don't communicate by phone or through text message. Blank stated that Birchmore had recently reached out to her to let her know she was pregnant. So another person she told she was pregnant. She's telling all these people. Why would she tell all these people she was pregnant and then take her life and the baby's life? It doesn't make sense. This woman was not preparing to end her life. Blank said that this was unusual because they were not all that close and typically did not communicate about personal details prior to that. Birchmore told Blank that she had been sleeping with a married man and he was the father of her baby. This is where sometimes she probably doesn't understand social cues that well because, honey, sleeping with a married man is not a flex. And I feel like when you are saying I'm pregnant, that is you flexing and excitement. But I hope that there's not excitement about the fact that it was possibly a married man. I don't know if she felt guilt about it. Because, I mean, obviously they've had a relationship well before he met his wife. Well, maybe not, unless he was married back when Sandra was in the Police Explorers program. But this grooming has been taking place a long time. And I wish she would have had the good sense when he got married to end it with him and not continue. But we know this guy is a predator. And so he knows how to say what he wants to get her to do what she wants. Now, would he have left her alone if she decided not to have any contact with him ever again? I don't know. But I don't like that she's telling everybody that it's a married man. I mean, it's going to come out anyways if he was the father, but I don't like that. For her, anyways. She also told Blank that she had already bought a baby stroller. Blank said that Birchmore wanted a family of her own, but she believed the baby's father may not have wanted the pregnancy. Yeah, because it blew his whole life up. That's why he wanted to put a stop to everything. Just didn't work out the way he wanted it to. According to Birchmore, they weren't trying not to get pregnant. When asked to elaborate, Blank said that she believed Birchmore may have intentionally gotten pregnant. Well, the thing is if he didn't use protection, it's not necessarily she intentionally did it. It's they didn't use protection and it happened. Now, if the guy is saying, oh, well, she said she was on the pill, so we didn't need protection. I don't care if the girl says she's on the pill. She could have missed a day. She could be lying. Always use protection, guys. I told my son, act like everybody's a whore and a liar. Wrap it up. I don't care if she says she's on the pill. Wrap it up. All right. Blank stated that Birchmore had run into Blank's mother at the grocery store recently, possibly Stop and Shop, at which time Birchmore told Blank's mother that she was expecting. Blank pointed out that aside from seeing one another at all, at volleyball, Birchmore and her mother did not ever communicate with one another. Well, she saw her out and about, and she was probably like, "Hey, Mrs. Such and Such," and then telling another person she's pregnant because she's so happy she's gonna have a child. There's a redaction, and blank and is employed at Sharon High School, and she was the one that got Birchmore her job at East Elementary School in Sharon. Okay, so this person helped Sandra get her job. 6. According to blank, Birchmore had sent her a message via Snapchat at approximately 9 p.m. on Monday, February 1st, about work the following day since they both worked for Sharon's school system. Okay. I don't know if this page goes with this page, but we'll continue. They had been on a half day due to snow, and a remote half day was scheduled for Tuesday, February 2nd. They spoke about work, but blank stated that Birchmore never responded to her last Snapchat message. Yeah, because Matthew Farwell had come over and ended her life, in my opinion. So this person was the last person probably to speak with Sandra before she was killed. Because they texted or they snapped at 9 p.m. So they work at the same school, but they always talk via Snapchat mainly instead of text, which um my daughter does that, and I'm like, why not just text? Saves your battery, but she talks to a lot of her friends that way. Blank was then questioned about her knowledge related to the father of Birchmore's child. She stated that Birchmore had told her at one point expressing he was unhappy about the pregnancy. An argument took place between the two. Birchmore told him that she was going to tell his wife and his job. Blank stated that Birchmore was aware this would get him in trouble. Um, yeah, in more ways than one. Like, because having an affair wouldn't necessarily affect your job. They may like look down on it, but all of them are, and but then there's going to be some that'll be like, "Oh, high five, dude." It would get him in trouble with his wife for sure, but mm, just having a relationship as an adult wouldn't. The part that gets him in trouble with his job and his wife and entire world is that it started when she was a child. And I still don't know why his wife is standing beside him. The father of the child then got angry and took Birchmore's phone from her. Blank stated that this was approximately 2 weeks prior to her being found deceased. Then there's redactions. Birchmore had also told Blank that she should leave his wife, he loves me, and that he loves, and he said that he loved her more than his wife. Um, so that's like the hot and cold. Let me be mad at you, but then, oh, let me make it up to you. You know, it's he wasn't going to leave his wife. He wanted to have his cake and eat it too. All right, March 16th, 2021. Trooper Matthew Dunn wrote this report, and it says on February 23rd, 2021, I, Trooper Matt Dunn, conducted a phone interview of blank, had called the Norfolk District Attorney's Office and stated that she had information regarding the death of Birchmore. Blank stated she was Birchmore's blank. Okay. I don't know why what she is to Birchmore has to be redacted, but okay, because nobody else's has been. Well, we're going to respect the privacy. Blank stated that she, blank, Birchmore would occasionally confide in her. Blank said that she would typically see Birchmore about once a month. She said that once Birchmore became pregnant, the two began to interact more. According to Blank, she and Birchmore would primarily communicate via, via Facebook Messenger. Blank stated that she had seen a Facebook message regarding Birchmore's death and did a Google search and got an uneasy feeling, which is what prompted her to contact the investigators. She stated that she was aware that Birchmore was sleeping with a married man and knew that Birchmore had been trying to get pregnant. Blank said Birchmore had told her that she and the baby's father had talked about getting pregnant, but Blank had gotten the impression that the father may not have been on board with the pregnancy. Blank said that Birchmore had told her that the baby's father did not want to sign the birth certificate. He didn't have to necessarily sign it. Blank stated that she last saw Birchmore on January 30th at the salon. She stated that Birchmore had been calling her about once a week, but then she typically would not answer the phone when she saw Birchmore calling her and would instead text her back. According to Blank, Birchmore seemed to be happy about the pregnancy. All right. Stuff that we pretty much knew as far as details go. All right. Now we have this is written on April 26, 2021. It is still to Detective Lieutenant Gerard Mattaliano. This is from Sergeant John Fanning. Subject is letter from attorney Patrick Hanley in the death investigation of Sandra Birchmore. And it says, on March 10, 2021, I received a letter at the Norfolk County DA's office from attorney Patrick Hanley. Attorney Hanley is known to me and he represents Detective Matthew Farwell from Stoughton Police. Attorney Hanley had called me earlier in the week to tell me that he was sending a letter on behalf of Matthew in regards to some unanswered questions regarding their relationship and in response to some requests that I made. I have read the letter that is attached to this report. Okay. All right. And here is the letter. Yes, it is Butters Brazilian LLP. It is a last name. It's the top two attorneys there, I guess. But let's see, I can't read all of the names, but Butters Brazilian, yeah. We've heard from them. We heard from them in the Karen Reed case too, I believe. They are maybe in the civil suit. I think it's Karen Reed's civil suit that they're working on behalf of somebody. All right. This was dated March 8th, 2021. Addressed to John Fanning, Sandra Birchmore's death investigation. Dear Sergeant Fanning, I am writing to follow up on our recent conversations and prior interviews you have had with my client, Matthew Farwell. As you know, Mr. Farwell has been cooperative with your investigation, including participating in interviews with you and permitting you to download certain information from his mobile phone. Throughout your conversations with my client and later with myself, you have indicated that you view him as a witness in your investigation. This is consistent with reality. Mr. Farwell has committed no crime. That's what you think. Like many, he is saddened by Miss Birchmore's death. No, he's not. Her not being here, in his eyes at the time, made his life better. In reality, it doesn't make his life better, so now he may be saddened by it because his life is blowing up. But her dying doesn't sadden him. Because if it saddened him, it wouldn't have happened. And he has committed crime. You may think he hasn't committed a murder, but he has committed crimes. He's just not being charged with those crimes by having sex with a minor. During our recent conversations, you asked Mr. Farwell to submit a DNA sample and participate in a polygraph interview. Although I appreciate your diligence, I advise my client to decline these requests and the request for further interview, traditional/non-polygraph, that accompanied them. I did so because they are for outside the norm for more witness in the investigation. I was a prosecutor for 14 years and participated in hundreds of interviews with state police detectives like yourself. I cannot recall once seeking a polygraph interview, and I can only recall seeking DNA of a person that the investigators and I considered targets. We also need DNA for the baby, not to see if there's fingerprints. I mean, they need it for that too, but mainly for the baby and the paternity. And you've never asked for a well, I guess as a prosecutor, you wouldn't necessarily be the one asking for a polygraph. But okay, you were a prosecutor. So as a prosecutor, no, you may not have asked for polygraphs. Police officers use polygraphs. They can't be used in court. That's why you as a lawyer wouldn't ask for one. But police use them all the time. So y'all aren't one and the same. So you not being able to recall a time when you asked for one doesn't mean that the police don't normally do it. There are good reasons for anyone to chafe at a request for DNA and a polygraph, and for an attorney to advise a client to decline that request. Yes. Decline to take a polygraph. They cannot be used in court. They are not always accurate. It's basically just a stress test. And the cops can lie to you about whether you passed it or you didn't pass it. So, yeah, don't take a polygraph. Just like you should shut your mouth and remain silent and ask for a lawyer when you get arrested. It's hard, but those are things you need to do so they don't have extra stuff to use against you. Complying with Mr. Farwell's DNA profile would highly advise. It would yield generic markers and highly personal health and family information. Okay. Based on information he has already provided to you that I will not restate here. I expect the DNA profile would reveal nothing of value to your case. Mr. Farwell has already provided highly personal information. In my opinion, providing DNA is a step too far. That's your opinion. A polygraph raises similar concerns about invasion of privacy. The topics of questioning would be highly invasive. Okay, that's what that word is. It's highly invasive. Furthermore, the results of the polygraph are inadmissible in court because courts have concluded that polygraph results are unreliable. And then he cites case. Under the circumstances here, there is no reason for the state police to conduct a polygraph examination of my client. I write not only to explain my response to your request for DNA and polygraph my client, but also briefly address 2 points that may have been underlying your request. First, my client had no role in Ms. Birchmore's death. He certainly never encouraged her to take her life, nor did he have a reason to fear that she would take her own life. He was shocked and saddened when he learned that she had taken her own life. Yeah, okay. Not buying it. Then there's a redaction. If possible, please inform me when your investigation closes and of any conclusions, if any, that you draw with respect to Mr. Farwell. Please contact me if I may provide additional assistance to you or if you would like to contact my client. Yes, they need to contact the attorney, but I don't know if this person is still representing him in the federal case. There are reasons for a DNA test. The court can order him to hand over his DNA. The court's not going to order a polygraph, though, but they could order the DNA thing. And obviously he eventually gave DNA because that would be the only way they can find out if he was or wasn't the father. Okay, April 26, 2021. John Fanning. Subject Matthew Farwell. Stoughton police issued iPhone drop-off. On April 26, 2021, Deputy Chief Brian Holmes from Stoughton Police Department brought a black iPhone to Norfolk DA's office as part of our investigation into the death of Sandra Birchmore. The phone was issued to Detective Matthew Farwell and had been retrieved by Stoughton Police when he was placed on administrative leave. The phone has been logged into evidence. Okay. So I wonder if this is a different phone than the one that he signed for them to use. Like, if it's the same one that they already redacted, or if it is a different phone, like he had a personal and a work one, and this is his work one, so maybe they don't have that one extracted yet. Also, something to note, look at the chain of custody stuff written. Somebody dropped up a phone, and the same date there's a report, and it says this person dropped off this piece of evidence, and it has been logged into evidence. And here's what it is. So they know how to do this, but they just decided not to in the Karen Reed case. Why didn't they do this stuff in the Karen Reed case is what you have to ask. August 16th, 2021. John Fanning. Subject is Matthew Farwell's personal and work cell phone analysis. Okay, so it was a personal cell phone and a work phone. It says on February 9th, 2021, Matthew Farwell consented to data extraction of his personal iPhone 11, which was extracted by Trooper Nick Guarino. On April 26th, I received Matthew's work cell from Stoughton Police Department. Through Matthew's attorney, consent was given for data extraction, which was performed by Trooper Nick Guarino. So Guarino analyzed both of the cell phones belonging to Matthew Farwell in this case. I analyzed both of the phones and did not find any communications with Sandra Birchmore. Matt had said in a previous interview that he deleted all communications with Sandra. So you just couldn't find any deleted stuff. Are you just not looking at the deleted stuff, or did you just do like a basic extraction instead of a more detailed extraction? Did you purposely leave that out? Because just because he deleted it doesn't mean it's gone. And it obviously wasn't gone because the feds found it. So you need to explain yourself there. All right. Now we have August 16th, 2021, Sandra Birchmore's Apple laptop analysis. On February 4th, 2021, Trooper Dunn responded to Canton for the unaliving death of Sandra Birchmore. They are calling it an unaliving. I think it's a murder. Trooper Dunn was advised by multiple sources the victim, Sandra, was possibly pregnant and that she said the father of the baby is Detective Matt Farwell from Stoughton Police Department. On February 9, 2021, Trooper Dunn, Keefe, and I, which we've heard Connor Keefe before in the Karen Reed case as well. He is also in the Brian Walsh case. I responded to blank Canton to retrieve Sandra's laptop and other relevant evidence. We retrieved Sandra's Apple laptop and we were able to use the password to gain access to the device. This device was then turned over to Trooper Nick Guarino for data collection and preservation. Over the next several weeks, I analyzed data from Sandra's laptop. In particular, I was investigating any criminal conduct related to Sandra's death and blank. Sandra's laptop gave me access to approximately 12 months of iMessages, social media content, and other documents/databases. Matt and Sandra had texted thousands of times over the year. But it's not in his phone. Why did he delete them? As well, communication with many other friends and family of Sandra. It was clear, based on texts with Matthew, that he and Sandra had a sexual relationship, as he told us in a previous interview. Yeah, but how? How previous? How far back did the sexual relationship go? Because it wasn't just 2020. All of these conversations were flagged in the forensics report of her laptop. Sandra communicated often with friends and family. It appeared that Sandra had sexual relationship with other men in the months leading up to her death. There were no threats of harm by any of these individuals, including Matt. Signed, John Fanning. And that is the end of the police reports in this case for this file dump of documents. They're missing a lot of information. So they either tried to hide it, didn't look far enough because it's one of their own, protect that blue, or they're just dumb and incompetent. Because why is their investigation and what they found so different than what the feds found? When they should have found the exact same things and acted properly. But they didn't, which is why the feds had to come in and do something. Because Morrissey's office and his little troopers and Canton Police Department are not going to do the right thing. This should make you so mad. Because while Sandra might have had her own issues, she didn't deserve this. That baby was innocent. And this is how things are handled when there's grooming and a murder by one of their own in uniform. It's gross. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. This part too made me heated. It's just deplorable. I will see you guys in the next video. See you later.